If you're expecting an answer at the end, well, prepare to be disappointed. This isn't one.
I once was an employee working at Nickelodeon Studios. Now, granted, I wasn't paid as much as the other employees, but the job still had perks. For example, me, along with the animators and sound editors, got to view the new episodes of several cartoons early. It is important to mention that at the time, the Spongebob movie had just recently come out, and the editors were having a harder time writing new episodes, both with the threat of Nickelodeon Studios being shut down.
No, yes, this was true for the most part. However, the production was also held back for more upsetting reasons. Me, along with everyone else, were prepared to watch the episode known as Fear of the Krabby Patty, aka the Season 4 premiere. Now, given that it isn't final yet, the editors would often put these gag tile cards in place of the official ones. For example, how reproduction doesn't work instead of Rockabye Bivalve. You know, the episode where SpongeBob and Patrick adopt a sea scallop. They were nothing notably funny, but they were pretty decent work-related truckles. Like, sort of an inside joke for us working here. So when we saw the title Red Mist, we didn't think more of it than a morbid joke. By the way, if you don't know what Red Mist is, it's basically a splatter of blood.
The opening credits, there were no names in the background, and this really sad and somber music was playing. The episode started at Squidward's house as normal, where he was playing his clarinet. Then that's when he heard a knock on his door. It was that one Scotch fish from the SpongeBob episode, Patty Hive, and he asked Squidward if he'd be interested in something, but Squidward instead slammed his door, not interested at all. So, after Squidward walked back, he heard knocking again, so Squidward went to open it, really annoyed as usual. But then when he opened the door, we saw the Scotch fish staring into Squidward's eyes and warned him that the red mist is coming, or poofing out of existence. And well, the camera was from Squidward's POV, so it felt like the fish was staring into our eyes.
Squidward continued playing as usual, but then he heard SpongeBob and Patrick laughing outside, and then he started scolding them in a really harsh manner. It wasn't even his normal insults like shells for brains or barnacle head. No, he used words like worthless, unintelligent, and nobodies, which are all words Squidward wouldn't have used in a normal episode, regardless of how much he gets annoyed by them. It then cut to the concert hall, where Squidward was finishing his clarinet solo. One thing I would like to mention is how during this sequence there were only one frame every 4 frames, and a lot of them repeat themselves, which is odd since the music didn't do that. And when the sequence ended, the music just abruptly stopped, like the skip didn't happen. The crowd immediately booed Squidward, pelting him with bricks and glass bottles, which was never normal in the show. Even worse, we could see SpongeBob and Patrick booing Squidward as well, presumably of what happened earlier, but it was still rather out of character. Not to mention the sudden zoom on the Scotch fish from earlier.
It cut back to his bedroom where he was just staring out his window. It was clearly nighttime, so it wasn't too long after the concert. He was trying to process what had just happened, and then when he finished, he started crying. However, it wasn't the exaggerated sobbing the show normally does. It was quiet. In the background, you could hear the sound of wind blowing through a forest of trees. But this wind didn't sound like they were coming from the speakers, but if they were actually happening outside of our building. It was really high quality, but a little too high for Nickelodeon's normal standards, which are still pretty good, just not like this. That's when a single frame quickly flashed up over the screen, and the lead animator had to pause it and rewind to that specific frame, and what we saw was horrible. No photo of a dead child. He couldn't have been older than 6. He had a knife lodged into his back, as you can see here. The worst part was the fact that you could see the photographer's shadow, implying that he's the one who killed him. And I know this photo is real, since it had been reported 2 months ago that a child that looked exactly the same had gone missing, along with 2 others. We had to continue the episode anyway because, well, it was our job and we needed to investigate further. Squidward then lifted his head up, and his eyes were bloodshot. All color was removed except for red, obviously. Perhaps again, another frame flashed into the sequence. The lead animator rewound it again, frame by frame. This time, it was a girl. She was laying on her side with a hole pierced into her forehead. Once again, you can see the photographer's shadow. The lead animator once again, Stephen Hillenberg. When he came to the room, I asked, "Are you aware of this?" When we sat down, we continued the episode. Squidward was still staring at the viewers with his lifeless eyes and bloody tears. Then we heard a demonic voice say, "Do it!" And the screen zoomed out to reveal Squidward holding a shotgun before cutting to black. However, there were 5 frames before cutting. The lead animator was able to stop it on the 4th frame and backed up. This time, the photo was of a boy. His belly was cut wide open, and a large hand was pulling out his stomach. "Oh my goodness," Stephen said. The lead animator played the next frame, and it was different somehow, but we didn't exactly know what was different.
He played the next one, then the next one, then the next one. And then he went back to the first frame and played all of them quicker. And that's when I figured it out. These 5 frames weren't photos. They were frames from a video.
You could even see the kid blink for a second.
And then, during the black part, we heard SpongeBob calling Squidward's name. And for a split second, we could see Squidward's deformed face, before that face cut to a fiery background, and playing Squidward went to hell after dying. And then it ended. Stephen Hillenberg was obviously angry, demanding to know who did this. Then the lead sound editor went over to the speakers and found a Cartoon Network logo on the other side. Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon have always been rivals, but Cartoon Network, or at least someone from Cartoon Network, was obviously planning to sabotage Nickelodeon in hopes of eliminating the competition, because this type of action could have gotten Nickelodeon shut down. That employee might have also been the one to kill the children, but he never got caught. I quit my job the very next day and I never looked back. I will never watch SpongeBob again. The end.